Hey everyone. So I know you haven't been attracting your ideal clients, and at least not consistent ones, right? Especially not the ones that you adore serving. So, of the hundreds of women owned businesses that I've worked with over the years, the most common problem that I hear is that I haven't consistently found the right client. Are you one of these women business owners? I am suspecting that you are. So, hello everyone. As you know, I am Leslie Tagorda. I call myself a brand navigator because I help women business owners find their way through their brand journey so that they can go from stuck to unstoppable. So today, what we're really going to be talking about, I have my notes here, so I'm sorry if I keep on looking down. I should have changed this up a little bit, but I really want to make sure I capture everything today because this is super valuable information because I know you've been struggling. I still struggle it with too. So today we're going to be talking about defining our ideal customer, our ideal client, finding that sweet spot between our expertise and their needs. We'll also be talking about how to create messaging that's going to speak to their hearts and their souls, that's going to focus on their current place and their desired results. And we are going to be talking about how to get found by our ideal customers. All right. So who here has experienced this, right? You don't consistently get the right clients, or you're finding a string of nightmare clients. Been there. Or you're attracting less than ideal clients, like they seem really good but they don't want to pay you what you're really worth. Been there. Or you're struggling to just get leads, like your website inquiry form gets crickets, or you're not getting calls, however you're getting the clients to come approach you. Or you're even having trouble building the right audience, right? Like either on social media, you have a social media account. Anybody have any of these problems? Just kind of pop them in the chat. I think, let me just make sure that I'm seeing the chat here. Hi for everybody who's joining me so far. And then all of this, right? If we can't find the people that we are really going to serve, then of course this is impacting our wallets, our bank accounts, and we just can't make the money. And then we're just feeling like, oh God, why are we doing this? Yes, thank you. So, I've struggled with this, and I still struggle with this, right? This is a spiral journey. This is something that we're always going to be looking at and tweaking, but then the more we do it, the faster we get at changing our results. So Catherine says, building a social media audience. Yeah, that's a hard one, right? Because there's so many people out there right now. How do we cut through all of the noise and find the people that are going to we're going to really best serve? How are we going to really focus our message and get our message so that people are like, yes, that's the person that I want us to guide, right? There are so many different layers to this that we're going to hopefully unpack. So as you have questions, please type them in. We'll be definitely talking about building a social media audience, right? Because this also depends on what your platform is, right? And even if it's your platform of choice, is it your clients, your ideal clients' platform of choice, right? So I also would love to tell you that once you figure it out, right? There's no such thing as figure it out. Once you figure it out, that's not going to say that it's going to work forever. Right? These things go through cycles and cycles. I was talking to my coaching group earlier, and I call this the spiral journey, right? The spiral journey is that we keep on hitting the same problems in our lives over and over again, but hopefully at each point in our lives, we figure that one thing out. So the next time we hit it, we can either overcome it faster or it elevates us somehow. And if we haven't done the work and we still are hitting our heads against the wall and doing things the same old way, expecting a different return, that spiral then goes downward, and nobody wants to go down that spiral, right? So I know if you're here, you can all relate to that. So earlier we were talking about expertise, right? And owning our expertise, we talked about how that is so important because our expertise is, we're always going to be an expert at something. We're always going to be great at something. Now, of course, there's always going to be somebody who's better than you. There's always going to be someone that's worse than you, right? Now, we're so used to looking up and comparing and saying, oh, this person has it all. How can I even stand a chance? But in reality, our expertise, we work best with the people that we're only 1 or 2 steps ahead because that's fresh, right? If you go to somebody who's such an expert way above you and you're looking for a coach and this coach has like all this great expertise, if they're that far ahead of you, they're not going to be able to really relate to the struggles that you're going through now. So I want you to all understand that in your expertise, you don't have to worry about that person that's 5 levels, 10 levels, 20 levels up. You are at the perfect place and your ideal customer is 1 or 2 levels behind you. Now that's if you're working in a service-based business, right? So I want us to all own our expertise, own our special sauce, own what we're good at, right? If you're a product-based business, you have to own that value that your product works. Your product is different. Your product is unique. And that goes for whether or not you have a product-based business or a service-based business, right? So that element of expertise is huge, and finding that and owning it and just wearing that on your sleeve and wearing it on your heart and telling people about your expertise. Because I know it might feel like you're tooting your horn all the time, but really if you don't tell people your expertise, then how are they going to know, right? Catherine said, I never thought about it like that before. Yes, so I'm guessing you were talking about kind of like the levels, right? Like you only need to be 1 or 2 levels ahead of somebody. Right? So our ideal customer, right, is that person who's going to benefit from our expertise, right? That's like number 1, right? So we have to know our expertise in order for them to benefit from it. Number 2, our ideal customer is going to be willing to easily pay for our expertise. Christina, true, Catherine, true. Yes, thank you, ladies. Paying for our expertise. This is a huge one, right? Sometimes we forget, like, oh yeah, like clients have to pay. I mean, we could give away our stuff for free, but I'm guessing that you don't run a nonprofit and that you run a business because you need to pay bills, you need to support your family, you need to support your lifestyle. So we need to find the clients that are going to pay for us, right? Because there's lots of clients out there that love freebies. Who doesn't love a freebie, right? We all love freebies, but now we have to like give just enough away so that it shows that we care, it shows that we are knowledgeable, it shows that we are trustworthy. But then to make the true transformations, that is something that needs to have some kind of energy exchange, right? And so we want to work with people who value that energy exchange. Now, there are going to be people who never want to fucking pay for a thing in their lives. Awesome. Go to McDonald's, get the free sugar. Whatever. I don't got free sugar. Tamla, yes, I'll have this available for a replay. Thank you for joining. I'm going to answer your questions. So we have to find that person that's going to pay, and not only are they going to have to pay, but they have to know that what they're going to pay for, they're going to get into return, right? So sometimes you probably hear this a lot. I talk about the investment a lot. There has to be some sort of investment, some kind of energy exchange, right? So that's number 1. So first is expertise, and then your ideal client has to pay you what you deserve, right? And the third part of your ideal customer is that, oh my gosh, how can I forget that? I already just wrote it down. Oh yeah, you adore working with them, right? Because I know you're super talented. You can work with lots of different people, but do you want to work with all these different types of people? Right? So the sweet spot is they need your expertise, they want to pay for you, but you love working for them. Right? I can work for lots of different types of people. I can work for architects, I can work for designers, I can work for men, I can work for women, I can work for nonprofits, I can work for lots of different people. But my sweet spot is working for women entrepreneurs. I love working with women entrepreneurs because I can relate to them. I am a woman entrepreneur. I know exactly the struggles. I love working with women. Not that I don't like working with men, but I particularly love working with women. And it makes me so like I'm part of their business because I'm helping them with their passions, right? It just extends all the passions. So Kristen says, and as an artist, this is a real problem. Lots of people love asking for free art. And it's like, all right, well, you want some free art? Here are a couple of free wallpapers on my website that you can download. Awesome, right? You can give little things away for free. Like I'm here on the Savvy Luminary and I'm talking to you. I'm not charging you for this. This is free. Like I love you guys and I want you guys to learn. And so this is my way of giving back, right? So we can all find ways to give things for free, like the incentive, right? Like we talk a lot about that when we're building our email lists and we give away a freebie or an opt-in. We're giving something of value to a customer so in exchange for their email. So is there something that if you were building, Kristen, your email list or something, is there a way that you can give away some of your art for free? Like digital art, like through a wallpaper or something, that could be easy. You could say, no, I don't do that. I do fine art. And if they want something for free, well, they can come to this gallery or this coffee shop or wherever you have a show and they can look at your art for free. But if they want to take it home and enjoy it in the privacy of their own home, then they have to buy it. And finding those clients that really value art and value whatever your art represents and symbolizes, and that they will pay for that, right? And so there are lots of different ways. I know that's a really, really tricky subject. Tamla, free sugar. I was talking about free sugar yesterday because somebody asked me for free. Never mind, I won't go into that. It's funny though. So then also one of the things is, right, we were talking about, and I've been posing this question in the Savvy Luminary, is like, who is your ideal customer, right? So with people like Tamla and Kristen, when your demographics of your ideal customer is so wide, right? Our ideal customer is more than a demographic. It's more than, okay, I love working for women entrepreneurs who are between 35 and 55, and they make X amount of money and they drive X kind of car. Yeah, we can create those client avatars, but I want to peel back the layers and get down to the meaning to find, and Kristen, I think you worded it perfectly. You ask the why, right? So I know with Tamla, her, what she was saying in her post was that she likes to work for, or she wants to help women anywhere from 20 to 102 go through some kind of spiritual awakening. And then Kristen with her art, that she has all kinds of people buying her art, men, women, young, old. And so the idea is that we want to get into the common struggle or the common problem for which your product or service is a solution, right? Ultimately, we're all looking for solutions to our problems. Even a piece of art can be a solution to a particular problem, right? Even like with Tamla, for you, with your spiritual awakening, working for women of color who have been brought up in some kind of religious indoctrine that may or may not be serving them, what is it about the way that they were brought up in religion that is no longer serving them, for which your spiritual practice can help them? What is their problem? What are the things that they're complaining about? How is that manifesting in their life? And why is it important? When we start understanding what's going through our customers' heads, and sometimes we just look at what our problems are, because oftentimes we were talking about, I love serving other women entrepreneurs because I know their struggles. Like I can get into their hearts and heads easily because I can just pop into mine. But it does take a little bit of digging in and going deep and sitting with those questions in ourselves about why. Why is this important? Like, what's the problem, right? Does everybody get me so far there? I know I can kind of go into this really intangible kind of way, but so the common key with defining your ideal customer is fine-tuning that common struggle or the problem that your ideal customer has, for which you have the solution, right? So Tamla, your solution is some kind of spiritual awakening. But what is that common denominator, that common struggle that all of your women that you want to serve are going through? Kristen, for you, for the people that buy your art, what is the common denominator? And now, Kristen, so I have a suggestion for you, right? If you don't know, like you might just be like, I don't know, I just had the transaction. They paid me for the art and they took it away, right? Oh, here comes comments. I forgot to look at the comments. Can make sense, Tom. You know, how did the art that they bought enhance their lives? Was there something missing in their lives that this art reminded them of, or took them back to a certain place, a place that was happier? Like, what is it about your art that people are attracted to? And if you don't know, call them up and ask. It's as easy as that. Get a survey, do a little bit of research, but it's our responsibility to get into their minds and hearts of the people that we want to serve and use their language. I'm going to get into that a little bit more. And then, so Tom, some of the great questions that you could be asking your customers is, what is missing or broken in their lives right now? How is their religious upbringing manifesting in their lives that is causing problems for which you can solve, right? So that's how we get into the root of what is this common thread that all of our customers have. And when we know this common thread, when we know this common struggle, and when we know their ultimate desires, like for me earlier, I was telling you, I call myself the brand navigator, and I help women business owners go from stuck to unstoppable, because I've been there. I imagine that you guys are all stuck in a certain place in your business and you don't exactly know where to go. That's why you're stuck, right? You don't either have the tools to get unstuck or you don't know how to get unstuck. And this is where I come in. I can give you the tools and the know-how to get unstuck. So how does that fit in your brand? How are you for your ideal customer? Right? And so the key to this, again, is to understand and empathize with your ideal customer, to get in their heads, to get into their hearts, to understand their struggles, right? For which you can solve, right? Everybody has all kinds of struggles, but I'm not going to be talking about struggles for which I can't help them. I'm only going to be talking about the struggles which I really know that I can help them. And then that way we can really define the value of our product or our offering. Right? Let me repeat that. When we understand and empathize with the struggles that our people are facing, then we can define the value of our product. Hoping that, well, not hoping, it'll be necessary that the value of your product aligns with their struggle, right? That's a given, right? So for example, like I talk a lot about brand clarity, and I'm kind of tearing this up a little bit because I talk about it as brand clarity, but it's very rare that you guys would use the exact same words about brand clarity. For you, brand clarity might show up like, you might be saying something like, I don't know how to show up authentically. I don't know how to attract the right clients, or I'm having trouble understanding the value of my product, right? Those are things that you would be saying, and that's the language that I should be using. Instead of talking about brand clarity, like I give you brand clarity, I need to be clarifying my language and saying, I know how to teach you to show up authentically. I know how to teach you to understand the value of your offering, your product, your service. Does that make sense? All right. So, right, when we understand their issues and we can empathize with them and use their exact language, this is where we start to create powerful messaging. And powerful messaging is messaging that stops people in their tracks, right? It stops them and says, oh my gosh, how does Tomlin know the struggles that I'm going through? Oh my gosh, how does Kristen know that is exactly what I wanted to have in my art collection? Right? Kristen, I'm sorry, I don't actually know what kind of art you have, right? So within our messaging, when we use the language that they're using, right, then we build trust, right? They know that we understand them. And when our customers know that we understand them, this builds trust. They know that we care about them. And when they know us, when they trust us, And when they actually like us, and we're going to be talking, this is where the astrology part comes in, the liking us. We're going to talk about that at the end. The liking us part, when all of those three things are magically mixed together, and you've heard this from other people that talk about copywriting and stuff, know, like, and trust. When those three things are blended together, then our ideal customers can't help but be attracted to us, can't help but reach out, can't help but know that we are the right person for them, right? So let's see. I just want to make sure I'm going through all of my language. So the know, like, and trust, once we really have figured out our messaging around the know, like, and trust, now we have to put ourselves out there, right? 99% of the time when people say that they're not getting regular customers, 99% of the time I will ask, what are you doing to promote yourself? And 99% of the time they will say, nothing. And this makes me laugh because, well, if you're not promoting yourself and if you're not putting yourself out there, then how is anybody going to find you? Now, yes, we've all heard about those outliers that, they put up one blog post or one video and they go viral. Now, I wish I had that magic power. I certainly do not have that magic power. I have to actually work really hard in order to find my ideal customers and to put my word out there, right? And most of you are going to fall in that bucket as well, right? So we have to put ourselves out there. And there's two ways of putting ourselves out there. We can do it paid or we can do it organic. And organic, all I mean is like not paid, right? There's lots of different things. Like for your unpaid kinds of things, there's of course referrals and word of mouth. And referrals and word of mouth sometimes will just happen organically and naturally. You don't have to do anything about it. But most of the time, you're just going to have to ask. Like a past client who had really great success, all you have to do is ask them, hey, do you know anybody else who could benefit from my services or from my product? Could you put me in touch with them? Right? So referrals and word of mouth, you still have to put in a little bit of action, right? Of course, social media and emails and websites, right? I know that Kristen had, or Catherine had this idea about social media, like how do we attract the right types of customers on social media? Because it is loud out there. Well, first we have to know who our customer is, and then of course we have to create the right messaging. But we need to put this in a way in our social media profiles through our cover graphics, through our hashtags, through our captions, through our photos. All of this is part of your brand that then brings customers in. Now, you could go on Instagram and you could buy likes and followers, but more often than not, those are not going to be authentic, right? You have to show up consistently and provide valuable information. You have to give away a little bit of free sugar, right? To know that people are going to get excited for when you put something out there because they're like, oh yeah, Leslie's going to have a great tip for me today. So I'm going to like hop on to the Facebook group and see what she has to say, right? I'm adding value, right? And so in social media and email on your website, these three things kind of flow together. And you need a website for credibility, and your website is just one part of your whole online strategy. You need social media, you need email. Everybody here needs this. Who here has an email list? Can I just say, can you type in a yes if you're here? If you have an email list, I would love to know if you're sending out consistent emails, like on a regular basis, weekly or monthly. My guess is you're not. And if you're not, well, guess what? Are you going to be seen? Are you going to be known? Are you going to be liked? Chances are slim. Social media, you don't need a ginormous audience. You just need an audience that is engaged, that is of the right type, quality and type of person, right? And then, of course, there's always press, right? Who here has been a guest on a podcast or written guest posts for some blogs? That gets your name out there as well. That's free, right? if you teach workshops or go to networking events, those you might have to, pay to get into a networking event. But then when you go to those things and go to conferences, you're going to be surrounded by people who are in your industry that you can make more connections and get more referrals out. So really, you have to be known. And then if you want to just like move fast, there is always paid advertising. Now, paid advertising can be a little bit scary, but it works. It just moves the needle faster. I think you guys all know that I put Facebook out. I have Facebook ads out. I have Facebook ads out for the Savvy Luminary. I have Facebook ads out for when I have my webinars. I just want to spread the knowledge. I just want to get in front of more eyes quicker. I mean, I could probably make that same conversions without paid advertising, but it's going to take me a lot longer and I don't have that time. So I invest in advertising on in certain situations just so that I can get the word out about my offerings. So those are the different ways. So like I know Renee had a question with her product-based business. She believes in her product. She has these beautiful canvas bags and t-shirts and beautiful designs, and she does some fairs, and I think she does a little bit of social media. But hey, how much could $100 of Facebook ads take you? You never know until you try it, right? So all of you, don't dismiss paid advertising if you have some kind of marketing budget, but make sure you have your messaging done before you go into any paid marketing. All right, and so now let's talk about a little bit of astrology, right? Because this is what you really love. So in astrology, you've heard me talk about the rising sign. And our rising sign is the sign that is determined from the point determined by the time and place on this earth that you took your first breath, okay? So this is the sign that was rising on the eastern horizon at the time that you were born. And oftentimes our rising sign is seen as kind of like our outer personality. And in my Astro Brand framework, when I'm putting brands together for people, I look to the rising sign to see what type of guide you need to be for your audience. So how this works is that our customers, right, they have an assortment of different types of guides, especially if you're in a service-based business. There's lots of people that do copywriting. There's lots of people that do web design. There's lots of people that do do branding. There's lots of artists. There's lots of spiritual teachers, right? But when we look to our rising sign, it's going to tell us what is best suited for us naturally. What is our outward personality, right? So as a Gemini rising, my outward personality is this: I have a ton of knowledge. I have a knowledge about a lot of different things, right? And I love to write. I love to guide people. I like to take them on these like short little journeys and look here and look there, lots of variation. So the people that I know, that the people who are going to best be served from me are the people that are looking to learn a lot of different things about their business. Now, if they're going to go deep into one particular part of their business, they're probably going to go to another consultant. Like if you only needed help on Facebook ads, I could recommend you to somebody who only does Facebook ads, right? For me, I know a lot about a lot of different things about business. The things that I can go in really, really deep into are, of course, web design, branding design, all of the visual design aspects of branding, and of course, brand strategy, because that's what I teach, right? But in general, my brand strategy is like overarching, very broad knowledge, just like a typical Gemini. Now, I have a client in Crystallize right now, and we determined that her outer brand was going to be loving and comforting. She has a Cancer rising, and Cancer is this very loving, gentle, mothering, nurturing type of archetype, right? For her rising sign, it's loving and nurturing and comforting. And so even though she's going to be doing work that is very intense and deep, I suggested that she look for clients and she position her brand so that she finds clients that are searching for comfort, that are searching for love in this otherwise really traumatic experience that they're going through. right? So we can look to our rising sign to determine what kind of guide we need to be for our customers, right? Our rising sign says a lot about our outward brand and our outward facing business. Anyway, I know I've been talking a lot here. I hope that you've found a lot of useful information. If you have questions, please continue to put them in the chat. I will be looking at the chat throughout the day and hope to answer any of your questions. And as you know, I'm Crystallize, my flagship 12-week branding program is now open. We're starting in July, and it's a comprehensive branding program where we look at the vision of your business, so defining the exact vision where you want to take your business next. Then we define the voice. We create a strong brand voice. We write a lot of the copy for your brand story, for your website copy, for your email copy. We do a lot of writing. And then the last part of Crystallize is all about the fun design stuff, putting together a cohesive visual look for your brand that reflects your brand personality. Your brand personality reflects the vision, the idea, where you want to take your business. It's such a beautiful program. It's 12 weeks. We start in July, and I would love to have you. So if you are even thinking about it or have questions, just schedule a call with me. I'll put the link here to book a call with me. We do a brand clarity session where I find out what's missing and broken in your business, and we can set up a plan. And if I think that you might be a good fit, like if I feel that I can really help you take your business to where you want it to go next, I will definitely invite you to Crystallize Brand Coaching Program. It's super fun. This will be the 4th program, and I'm actually considering this to be the last time I run Crystallize in this way because I want to change it up a little bit. I have some ideas up my sleeve that are not yet fully cooked, but I'm really excited about what's going to come up next. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me, and please keep asking your questions. I love being the support for you. All right, have a good one. Bye.